Hello and welcome back. Today we're talking about bounce back candidates, and there's a number of guys here who you're going to want to pay attention to because there are some guys that you can find some value in your drafts this year, guys who are primed to bounce back. What you're looking at here is their shooting percentage, their 3-year average shooting percentage, and then the difference between the two and the goal totals over here. So we'll start it off by looking at a guy who I hope bounces back for my sake. I'm a Rangers fan. Alexis Lafreniere at ADP 180. None of these numbers look that great. Hits per game is nice at 1.45. Shots need to come up. Power play usage has been non-existent the entire time he's been in the NHL with the Rangers. The goal totals are okay. 17 goals last year is not great. Only 45 points, but that is, I guess, a floor for him at this point. He's had 39 2 years ago, but 57 in 23-24 seems to be what we thought was a starter kit. It was not. He isn't that far off from his previous season's shooting percentage. 11% instead of 12%. You're hoping that he can get on power play one. That's the main theme here. If he can get on power play one with Mike Sullivan coaching, maybe he throws him out there trying to get the most out of him. You're still getting Panarin exposure at 5-on-5 with Trocheck. That line should still be intact. So I would definitely put a flyer on him at ADP 180. He should be dual position eligible. He should have more than 17 goals last year. You could see his ceiling right now is 28 goals. I would hope for 25, and anything over than that would be gravy. Now, in terms of regression, this is difficult because Auston Matthews still had a pretty good season last year. 78 points in 67 games is excellent. 1.16 points per game, half a goal per game, 3.9 shots per game. That's, I believe, fourth in the NHL, and 25 power play points. But it is worth noting that the previous season he shot at 18%, put up 69 goals. That is a little bit high, but he's done it before in terms of the shooting percentage at 18%. That season, he scored 41 in 52 games, which is crazy on a per game level. So his low seems to be 12% or thereabouts. His high seems to be 18%. And since he's coming off a 12% shooting season, I would definitely expect him to regress upwards. There's a pretty big variance in his goal totals. He's got 40 and 41, which seems to be the low, but this 33 is actually the low. Maybe he was dealing with some injuries, played a lot in terms of the Four Nations and everything else going on. So he's not going to get a reprieve from that with the Olympics, and he will probably have to cram in a lot of hockey this season with the playoffs, with the Olympics and everything. But with all of that said, he should regress up and score at least 40 next season, if not more than that. At ADP 9, that does seem to be value. He was a guy who was going third overall last year. So if you're in the first round and you're wondering who you should take and you see Auston Matthews there, I wouldn't second guess it. I'd definitely take him there. Bo Horvat, this is an interesting file because he has been a goal scorer in the past. You can see here 3 straight seasons of 30 goals plus, 31, 38, and 33. Dropped a little bit below that last year at 28. Only 7 power play points. Their power play was abysmal last year. Their special teams in general was terrible. If they can boost that power play back up, even into this 18, 19, 20 range, he should be close to a point per game player, which he was not last year. The shot volume is excellent. The goal scoring should come up. I could see him flirting with 40 next year. They did bring in Jonathan Drouin. He may get some line assignment exposure with Bo Horvat. Matt Barzal, healthy, should help their power play as well. Bo Horvat seems to be that bumper guy. He loves to score from that spot, so hopefully they can utilize him there. But I definitely see this as a positive regression. It looks like that's already baked in with this ADP. I would hope to get Bo Horvat later than this, but it doesn't seem like you're going to be able to. So I definitely would hope that he drops a little bit lower in ADP. This is a little bit rich, especially if you're trying to build your team around wingers and D. He's a center. He might not be the best option at 76, but I definitely would keep my eye on him if he falls in ADP. Brayden Schenn, this is an interesting one because he's such a peripheral guy now. 2.37 hits per game is excellent. You would hope for a little bit more shot volume and a little bit more offensive production altogether. So 7 power play points last year is a 5-year low. He's been as high as 17, so hopefully he can get into that 15, 17 power play point range. That would boost him into the 60 point range if possible. He's been as high as 65 points in 22-23. But this is a guy who is not getting any younger, and they are bringing up some younger guys like Jimmy Snuggerud, who may eat into some of that power play time. And this is the concerning part. He was only on power play 1 30% of the time from 2/27 onwards. So this is from February 27th, just before the trade deadline. onward. He was only on power play 30% of the time. I'd like to see that at 100%, but he's not currently being drafted. If you're in a categories league or if you're in a league with faceoffs, I would definitely look at him super late in the draft and hope for some upward regression. You're looking to hope for 20 to 25 goals instead of this 18 number and hope for around 60 to 65 points, but that's not necessarily something that older players always do, so keep that in mind. Now, Brock Nelson comes over to the Colorado Avalanche. He probably will not be power play 1. That is something to monitor as well. Same type of thing as Brayden Schenn, but this time you're looking at excellent 5-on-5 exposure. In Colorado, he's playing with some guys that you're going to want, either Lehkonen or Nichushkin or Necas or something. They're going to have somebody for him to work with in the top 6. 56 points in 80 last year is not bad. 26 goals is actually low compared to all 3 of these previous seasons. And the shooting percentage is relatively low. So I would expect a bounce back up into this 30-35 goal range. I just wouldn't expect it to come on the power play. I think these years where he was putting up these power play numbers were in obviously Long Island, and I don't necessarily see that being the case with Colorado. So that is going to be difficult. He's going to have to do it 5-on-5, but the shot volume is nice. The goal scoring has always been a feature of his file. And to get him at ADP 90 seems a little bit rich, especially given the fact that he's not getting that power play 1 exposure. So I would hope that he falls in ADP. If he falls past 110 or so, maybe you could start thinking about him there. For Chris Kreider, this is a house account. ADP 170 feels a little bit crazy just given the fact that he's a couple seasons removed from a 52-goal season. He should be in this mid-30s range. 20 seems to be the low. That was in 50 games. This is 22 in 68. Wasn't fully healthy last year. Wasn't completely on power play 1. Kind of fell out of favor. I don't know exactly why. He seemed to be banged up last year. Hopefully he's fully healthy this year, but he's a guy who scores in front of the net. He doesn't need a ton of shot volume. He gets 2.24 shots per game. 1.1 hits per game is nice. So Chris Kreider was a beneficiary on the power play a couple of seasons ago. 52 goals, 35 power play points. I believe 25 of those or more were power play goals. So I wouldn't necessarily expect that, though he should be on power play 1 in Anaheim. Throw him right in front of the net, and that should help Jackson Lacombe get some more points if he's throwing pucks on net and Kreider can tip them in. This shooting percentage is fine. He should be in this 15 to 20 range, but he's been up as high as 20, mainly a lot of tips in front. So I would expect regression upward in his goal totals. I would expect it in assists as well. I don't think it's possible to have another season this bad in assists. And the ADP 170, that's pretty good value as well. I believe he's two position eligible. He used to be a single position left winger. Now, speaking of left wingers, this is a guy I've got my eye on. Filip Forsberg should be a first or second round, not a first round guy at this point, but a second round pick at the very least. He's dropped to the 3rd round at ADP 28 as of time of recording this video. Usually in that 12 to 13% range. Is at 11% last year. He's been as high as 18.5%. That was a 42-goal season. But even at 13%, he's scored 48 just 2 seasons ago, or just last year, depending on what your time frame is. But 23-24, 48 goals, 94 points, well above a point per game. He's been well above a point per game in the past. He was under it again, and it seems to be, an up year, a down year, an up year, a down year. So I would expect upward regression across the board for him. And he's starting from a point where he's 0.93 points per game, 99th percentile in shot volume, really good power play numbers at 26 power play points. So this is dangerous if you're looking for a guy who is probably a back end first round, early second round value, and you're getting him at 28, a category league beast with almost 2 hits per game on top of that. I definitely like this file. Think of this as sort of like a more balanced Brady Tkachuk, because you're getting really good shot and hit profile. Maybe not as good as Brady Tkachuk, but you're getting higher overall point ceiling. So that's incredibly enticing at ADP 28. Similar theme with the Ducks with Frank Vatrano. He has been a 37-goal scorer in the past, not that long ago, 23-24, 60 points, 37 goals, 20 power play points is the key to his whole file. Every other season, not getting a lot of power play time. I don't know if he's going to get it this season. That's the key. 70% of the time towards the end of the season, he was on power play 1, which is encouraging. The shot volume is there. The hits are going to be there. It's just the point ceiling. We saw with Forsberg, similar profile, just a higher point ceiling. You're getting a lot less of that with Vatrano. You would definitely think of him as line dependent or power play dependent. But if you're trying to look for value in the late rounds in a category league, 157 is not bad for a guy who is almost 5 points. trying to do the math on the fly here, away from his shooting percentage. His average is 11.5%. He shot well below that last year. So 21 goals, I would expect maybe at least 27 to 30, maybe a little bit more than 30 goals this year, depending on deployment. That is the main factor. With Jonathan Marchessault, you're looking at a really good ADP value at 154 right now. Power play numbers were really good last year. That's kind of surprising, just given what went on in Nashville. 23 power play points, 21 goals and 78 is not great. Well below his shooting percentage from the previous season where he scored 42. So basically cut his goal total exactly in half, and that came at a discount of 5% shooting. So that's exactly what you're looking for. He's been really healthy over the last 4 years, playing 76 games minimum over the last 4. So you're definitely going to get the volume there. Point totals should be in this 55-65 range, and goals should be around 30 to 35 at the bare minimum. I wouldn't expect 42 goals, but I wouldn't expect 21 either. Shot volume is good. Power play, he should be cemented on that power play 100% of the time. He was on that towards the end of the year. So this is a great looking file for Marchessault. At 154, you could do a lot worse. Matt Boldy is a guy coming into his own. You can see his shooting percentage in the past, 12%, 13%. He was at 9% last year and still had 27 goals and 73 points. And the power play numbers still have a little bit of room for improvement there. If you get Kaprizov back, those numbers should elevate. The goal totals could elevate, especially if he's playing on his line. That would definitely indicate this could be a potential breakout season. He's been hovering around this 30 goal range, this 40 to, he climbed up in assists, 32, 40, 46. The power play numbers could take a little bump. The shooting percentage could come up, and that would make him an incredibly good value player at 30 ADP. He's dual position eligible. And I definitely think that he's coming into his own. You can see this upward trend, 54, 59, 63, 66. Sometimes you see a little bit of a dip, but I wouldn't necessarily expect that with Kaprizov healthy. Matt Boldy coming into his own as a player in this league. I definitely would expect this to provide value. He should bounce back, and I would hope for at least 35 goals from him this season. For Zibanejad, everybody is counting out the Rangers. That's a good news sign for you if you're looking for value. Zibanejad should be a center and right wing eligible player heading into the draft this year. He's going to be playing right wing with JT Miller and Will Cooley more than likely. The power play numbers really low last year, historically low for him. He's been up to 39 power play points, 31 the year before, 28 the year before that, down to 19. The power play was just not that good last year, and that's the outlier season. Every other year they've been really good, and they've kind of lived and died with that power play. You can see his career total, 39 goals in 91 points in 82 games a couple seasons ago. I don't know if I would expect 91 points again, but around a point per game is what I would expect, and probably around 30 goals for him. So he's hit that 39. He's had 29 right there. 26 is a little bit low. But if he's that trigger man on that power play, he's going to be putting in a ton of power play goals. You could get that a little bit bonus in a points league if you're getting power play goal bonus. At ADP 158, that seems like disrespect for a guy who has been pretty good in the past. He's had 2 seasons of consecutive downward growth, so 91 to 72 to 62 points. But his best friend's gone. That's a big shakeup. He's now a little bit more motivated. He's got a new line mate, a new coach coming in. There should be a lot of new momentum and hopefully a revitalized look to the New York Rangers. Shot 10% last year. He's been as high as 15. So I would expect him in that 10, 11, 12, 13% range. That's a pretty wide range, but you can see him kind of everywhere in that range between 10 and 15%. If he takes a little bit of an uptick, you can probably pencil him in for 27 to 30 goals. The last guy I wanted to touch on is Troy Terry. So Troy Terry, 55 points in 77 games is not crazy bad. It's actually a pretty decent floor. He had 54 points the year before. But what I want to point your attention to is the shooting percentage. He's been as high as 19%. He's been around 12, 11% the last couple seasons. They're getting better in Anaheim, and he should still be figuring in to their top power play. 93% of the time he was on power play 1, and he should be in the top 6. So getting that exposure, he should be in that 25 goal range. You can see 21, 20, 23. I would expect a little bit of a jump there from this level of shooting percentage, just based on the fact that he's got a little bit more to work with. And the shot volume is nice at 2.44 shots per game. So I don't necessarily see him as a huge draft target because he does not have an ADP right now. And there's a bunch of other guys I would bet on. But if you're looking for a waiver wire type of player, at some point during the season, he should be dual position eligible and he should be taking a jump from here. Now, that's going to do it for this video, but there is a little bit of a caveat here. This is just the bounce back category I had it filtered to. There is a huge bounce back list, and if you want to get access to that, I'm going to have you sign up for the Patreon. I know for a fact that AC Delaware River, my main competition in my category league, watches these videos. So I've got to hide some of my information from him so that I can have some sort of an edge and try to beat him this year in fantasy. So if you want access to this tool, which is basically a shooting regression tool, it's linked to the Player Hub. You can get access to all of these tools in the Patreon link in the description below, and you can get access to some huge bounce back candidates. One guy in particular that I've got my eye on, so I'll save that for the Patreon group. But thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.